Well, look, if your only source of information is the CBC, you're going to have a very limited and twisted view of the world. So I actually went and read the court ruling myself. Can I read a few facts from it that Khaleesi Bethany Lindsay didn't think were important enough to put in her story? Let me quote, I'm just going to quote from the lawsuit here. This is the court order, the judgment. The estimated cost to build the export facility and the pipeline project is approximately $40 billion. Oh, just that. The plaintiff being Coastal GasLink, has entered into long-term transportation service agreements with LNG Canada joint venture participants, and it is estimated that the plaintiff, that's the pipeline company, will spend approximately $6.2 billion to implement the pipeline project. Just $40 billion, just $6 billion for the pipe. I thought journalism was about who, what, why, where, when, giving you the basic facts. That's a pretty big what to leave out of the story, don't you think? Now here's from the court ruling again. Here's outlining the benefits of the pipeline. Those benefits are expected to include A, creation of approximately 2,500 jobs during peak construction on the pipeline project, and a total of approximately 10,000 jobs during peak construction across the export facility, the pipeline project, and associated upstream development. B, substantial federal, provincial, and local, municipal, and regional tax revenue. C, long-term financial benefits to the 20 Indigenous bands along the pipeline project route as a result of project benefit agreements, forecast to total more than $338 million cumulatively over the life of the pipeline project. D, contracting and employment opportunities in proximity to the pipeline project, including more than $620 million in contract work to Indigenous businesses for upcoming construction, and additional opportunities for Indigenous and local businesses expected in total approximately $400 million. And E, investment to support community programs, events, and provide training and educational opportunities to local communities and First Nations. This is the best thing that has ever happened to these 20 Indian bands. But forget about money. How about Aboriginal rights? How about some of the Indians who actually want to work and signed a deal? They don't want to just protest on behalf of some American-funded environmentalist group. They actually want to build their future. Well, the court heard from them, even if the CBC's Bethany Lindsay silenced them. There are a number of examples in the court ruling, but I just want to take the time to read from one of them. Ready? Here's from the court ruling. Troy Young, a Wet'suwet'en person, descendant of hereditary chief Namox of the Tsayu Beaver Clan, is the general manager and director of Kaya Resources, Inc., a company owned by a Witset First Nation Limited Partnership and a Wet'suwet'en member-owned company. So they're Indians. Kaya Resources, Inc. has a contract to provide work, including clearing, heli logging, road building, security, and first aid services in Section 8 of the pipeline project. Mr. Young, who's an Indian member of the band, deposed that Kaya has a direct connection to the local First Nation community. In addition to local employment opportunities through Witset's ownership interest in Kaya, a portion of the company's profits can be expected to go to the local community. A delay in construction of the project would have a severe impact on the local Wet'suwet'en community and the Wet'suwet'en people. A substantial number of local First Nations persons are expecting to be employed to perform work related to the project. These jobs would be well-paying and could provide a means of supporting further economic development in the community by providing access to valuable skills training that would positively affect how people live in the community. The project provides a real opportunity for positive change in the community. Now, this is from the court ruling, because the CBC's not going to tell you this. The court ruling has several stories like this. Real Indian band members hiring real Indian band members. These are legal terms under the Indian Act. These are people who vote for Indian bands, and the bands themselves approved all of this, and these are entrepreneurs. They have been unpersoned by the whitest woman at the CBC. There are a few points to learn from this, I think. The first and most obvious is that you just can't trust the CBC. They are damned liars. You can't trust the network of, well, what's the CBC? They hire the registered anti-oil sands lobbyist David Suzuki. You can't trust them to tell you the truth about oil and gas pipelines. They lie or they deceived, as they did here. 20 out of 20 Indian bands along the route want this thing to proceed, but the CBC sides with a few cranks. I'm sorry, you cannot trust the CBC, not even for facts. That's an excerpt from the Ezra Levant Show, which is a show I do every day. I do a monologue, interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. But you've got to subscribe to it, which you can do at premium.rebelnews.com.